Captain Lyra James stood on the bridge of the UEES Endeavour, Earth's first interstellar diplomatic vessel, her gaze fixed on the distant sprawling form of the Galactic Council space station. For centuries, humanity had questioned its place in the universe, wondering if life existed beyond the stars. Now, with the evidence clear before her, she felt both awe and apprehension as they approached. The Endeavour, while equipped with Earth's most advanced technology, still felt small and vulnerable against the immense galactic structures surrounding them. This was humanity's first official step into a universe brimming with advanced civilizations, and Lyra knew that every action, every word, and every look would count. The vast station before them was awe-inspiring, a monumental structure encircled by ships of all sizes and shapes, each bearing the distinct marks of various alien species. Sleek and streamlined, massive and industrial, these vessels defied Earth's understanding of physics and engineering. Lyra could feel the eyes of her crew on her, sensing their shared mixture of excitement and trepidation. This was their moment, but it was clear that they were seen as the newcomers here, stepping into a world where they would likely be underestimated and scrutinized. Lyra had spent months preparing for this role, yet standing on the precipice of such a grand encounter, she felt the weight of humanity's entire history resting on her shoulders. "Captain, we're receiving docking instructions," came the voice of Lieutenant Commander Jack Chen, breaking the tense silence on the bridge. He was calm, steady, though Lyra could see the glimmer of awe in his eyes as he glanced at the alien ships around them. She took a deep breath, nodding in acknowledgement. "Proceed with caution, Commander. Remember, we're here to observe and learn. Let's not give away too much," she replied, her voice level but firm. The directive from Earth's leaders had been clear: present humanity as an eager, peaceful species, one just beginning its exploration into the vast unknown. It was a tactic designed to make humanity appear non-threatening, while also buying them time to assess the political landscape of this galactic community. She could only hope the Council would fall for it. As the Endeavour glided smoothly into the docking bay, Lyra took a moment to absorb the sight. Alien vessels lined the walls, their intricate designs glistening under artificial lights. There were ships built with crystalline structures that shimmered like gems, and others with sleek, dark metallic exteriors that seemed almost alive. This was the Council's heart, the hub of countless civilizations, each more advanced than anything humanity could imagine. Lyra could only hope her composure masked the thrill and nervousness stirring within her. When the docking sequence completed, the doors to the Endeavour slid open, and Lyra and her delegation stepped out, greeted by a delegation of Council representatives. The sight of them was a shock. Some were humanoid in form, albeit with variations that hinted at evolutionary paths unknown to Earth. Others, however, were completely alien, beings with multiple limbs, strange textures and shimmering iridescent skin that reflected the artificial lights in hypnotic patterns. Standing at the forefront was Chancellor Zalor, a tall, willowy figure with a calm, watchful gaze. His voice when he spoke was melodic, almost entrancing. "Welcome, humans," Zalor greeted, his tone polite but distant. "The Galactic Council is pleased to welcome Earth into our community." Lyra bowed slightly, her diplomatic training kicking in. "Thank you, Chancellor Zalor. We are honored to be here and look forward to learning from your esteemed council." She kept her tone humble and measured, hoping to convey a sense of deference while still standing firm in her words. The rest of her team followed suit, nodding and maintaining respectful postures, mirroring her actions. As they walked through the station's winding corridors, Lyra noticed the curious and, at times, dismissive glances cast their way. Snippets of conversation floated to her, some of which her translator struggled to interpret, but the tone was unmistakable. Curiosity mixed with condescension. They were seen as a novelty, perhaps even as an oddity. Primitive beings taking their first steps into a world vastly more complex and technologically advanced than anything they had ever known. Lyra's instincts sharpened. They needed to tread carefully. The Council's welcome, though seemingly warm, was likely layered with ulterior motives and expectations. The Grand Council chamber itself was an amphitheater of monumental scale, with tiered seating that held representatives from countless worlds. As the Earth delegation took their designated seats, Lyra felt the weight of hundreds of eyes upon her, observing, analyzing, and undoubtedly judging. Chancellor Zalor took his place at the center of the room, addressing the assembly. "Esteemed colleagues," Zalor began, his voice resonating through the chamber. "Today we welcome a new species into our ranks, the humans of Earth. who have recently achieved faster-than-light travel. They stand before us as eager learners, ready to join the galactic community. Murmurs rippled through the assembly, and Lyra noted several delegates smirking or whispering to their neighbors. She clenched her jaw, willing herself to remain calm. To them, Earth was a curiosity, a primitive world that had somehow stumbled into the grand cosmic tapestry. It was clear they didn't take humanity seriously, but that was the plan. To let them underestimate Earth, to believe humanity was far less capable than it truly was. An avian-like representative with brilliant plumage leaned forward, addressing her directly. "Tell us, Captain James, what does Earth bring to the Council? What technologies or resources does your world offer?" Lyra rose, choosing her words with precision. "Earth is rich in cultural diversity and natural resources. Our history is marked by innovation, and we're eager to learn from and contribute to the galactic community." The alien clucked dismissively. Yes, but what of your military capabilities? Surely a species as young as yours cannot hope to defend itself in these perilous times." A flicker of frustration surged within her, but she suppressed it, keeping her voice steady. "We have defense capabilities appropriate for our development level. Our focus has been on peaceful exploration." Her response elicited chuckles from several council members. Zalor held up a hand, signaling for silence. "Let us not judge our new friends too harshly," he said, though his words carried an air of patronizing amusement. "They are here to learn, after all." As the session continued, it became painfully clear that the Council viewed Earth as little more than a curiosity, a primitive world with resources to be studied or exploited. Lyra's unease grew with each patronizing comment and dismissive gesture. She knew the Council wasn't seeing Earth's true potential, and perhaps that was a blessing. But deep down she knew they couldn't let their guard down, not even for a moment. In the privacy of a brief recess, Lyra pulled her team aside. "We need to be careful," she whispered. "They're underestimating us, which could be to our advantage. But I don't like the way some of them are eyeing Earth's resources." Lieutenant Chen nodded grimly. "I overheard a couple of representatives discussing our solar system's untapped potential. They seem to think we'll just hand over whatever they want." Lyra's gaze hardened. "Well, they're in for a surprise if they try anything. For now, we play along and gather intel. Let them think we're naive. It'll buy us time to assess the situation." As they prepared to re-enter the chamber, Lyra took a deep breath. The stakes were higher than she had imagined, but humanity had a card yet to play. For now, they would continue the charade, letting the Council believe they were harmless. Little did the Council know that Earth had been preparing for this moment far longer than anyone suspected. Captain Lyra James and her team returned to the Council chamber, maintaining their roles as wide-eyed newcomers eager to learn. Behind their polite expressions, they were anything but naive. The mission Earth had entrusted them with was clear: to observe, gather intelligence, and avoid revealing their hand until absolutely necessary. Earth's leaders had suspected that humanity's first encounter with the galactic community would involve both open diplomacy and hidden agendas. Now, seeing the Council's dismissive attitude up close, Lyra knew their cautious approach had been the right choice. The Council's discussions resumed, filled with reports and deliberations among alien representatives, each speaking of their world's achievements, resources, and strategic contributions to the Galactic Alliance. The chamber buzzed with voices, each counselor eager to make their presence known. Lyra found herself quietly analyzing each speaker, making mental notes about their attitudes, tones, and how they interacted with one another. She knew that the dynamics among these representatives held crucial insights into potential alliances and rivalries within the Council. As Lyra observed, she noticed that certain factions were more vocal and dominant, often interrupting others or steering conversations to suit their interests. The Sarkin Dominion, for example, represented by Commander Vrax, an imposing reptilian figure with fierce eyes and an air of arrogance, seemed to have considerable influence. Vrax spoke with authority, often scoffing at more peaceful or idealistic notions presented by others. It became evident that he viewed diplomacy as little more than a tool to consolidate power, and that his faction favored a more aggressive stance. Lyra couldn't shake the feeling that Commander Vrax's disdainful gaze lingered on her delegation just a bit longer than the others, as if sizing them up. During a pause in the proceedings, An aide approached Lyra and informed her that her delegation was expected at a reception hosted by Chancellor Zalor that evening. The invitation was a rare privilege for newcomers, but Lyra understood it was also a test. The council was curious about Earth and wanted to gauge their culture and demeanor in a more informal setting. Lyra accepted graciously, hiding her apprehension. This reception could offer a valuable opportunity to gather intelligence, but would also require her team to be cautious, ensuring they didn't reveal any sensitive information. Later that evening, Lyra and her team arrived at the Chancellor's reception. The atmosphere was both extravagant and surreal. The walls of the Grand Hall seemed to shimmer with bioluminescent designs that shifted colors as different alien species entered. Alien delicacies were laid out across tables, foods of strange shapes, colors, and textures, some of which radiated faint glows. The council members mingled in clusters, chatting, laughing, and occasionally casting curious glances toward the humans. Lyra moved gracefully through the crowd, introducing herself to various representatives, exchanging polite greetings and small talk. She maintained her composure, projecting an image of openness and eagerness to learn. As she moved from group to group, she listened intently, picking up on subtle remarks and exchanges that hinted at the council's power dynamics. She could sense which factions were close allies and which held simmering tensions beneath their formalities. As she conversed with a representative from a neighboring star system, Lyra noticed Vrax watching her intently from across the room. He was speaking with several delegates, yet his gaze kept drifting in her direction. She maintained her calm, nodding and smiling at her conversational partner, but her instincts told her that Vrax was likely considering Earth's position and potential value, or vulnerability. Eventually, Vrax approached, his towering figure casting a shadow over Lyra and her team. "Captain James," he greeted, his voice a low, resonant rumble. "It's fascinating to see a new species emerge from such a quiet corner of the galaxy." His tone dripped with both curiosity and a hint of mockery. Lyra smiled politely. "It's a privilege to be here, Commander Vrax. We're honored to learn from those who have traveled the stars long before us." He inclined his head, studying her. "Learning is important, yes, but so is survival. The galaxy is not a kind place, Captain. Many worlds have discovered that the hard way." His gaze was piercing, and Lyra sensed he was testing her. "We're aware of the risks, Commander," Lyra replied calmly, meeting his gaze without flinching. "Humanity has faced many challenges. We may be new to this galaxy, but we are not unprepared." She chose her words carefully, subtly hinting at resilience without revealing too much. Vrax chuckled, clearly entertained. "Is that so? Well, I hope your species has prepared for more than exploration. There are many interested parties in the galaxy who may see Earth's untapped resources as a gift." Lyra held her ground, smiling serenely. "Earth is open to peaceful alliances and mutual growth. We believe in cooperation over conflict, but rest assured, we will protect our home if necessary." With a dismissive shrug, Vrax moved on, leaving Lyra and her team with a feeling of unease. His words had been thinly veiled, hinting that Earth's resources might attract unwanted attention. Lyra exchanged glances with her team, silently acknowledging the implications. They would need to remain vigilant, watching for any signs that the Council, or specific factions, might harbor intentions beyond diplomacy. The reception continued, with Lyra and her team subtly gathering more intelligence. Through quiet conversations and careful observations, they began to piece together a picture of the Council's structure. It became clear that the Sarkan Dominion, the Avery Alliance, and the Nivore Confederacy held the most sway, often dictating terms while smaller factions followed their lead. Yet, alliances within the Council were not solid. Rivalries simmered beneath the surface, as different species vied for influence, technology, and resources. As the night wore on, Lyra and her team reconvened, exchanging their findings. They spoke in hushed tones, reviewing everything they had learned about the Council's members, alliances, and power struggles. It was evident that Earth's arrival had stirred curiosity and perhaps even concern among certain factions. Still, Lyra reminded her team to maintain the facade of inexperience, allowing these powerful entities to continue underestimating them. One of Lyra's officers, Lieutenant Ramirez, shared an observation. "I overheard representatives from the Avery Alliance discussing our solar system. They seem intrigued by its potential. It's like they're cataloging our resources, almost as if planning for exploitation." Lyra finished, her voice grim. She had suspected as much, but hearing it confirmed felt like a blow. It was becoming increasingly clear that Earth would need to tread carefully. The Council saw them as easy prey, a young civilization with resources ripe for the taking. Lyra looked around at her team, noting the determination in their eyes. "We're in dangerous territory," she said quietly, "but that could work to our advantage. They're underestimating us, and we'll use that to gather as much intel as we can. When the time comes, we'll show them Earth isn't as defenseless as they believe." Her team nodded, their resolve strengthened. Earth might be a newcomer, but they were not without strength, nor without strategy. They would continue the charade, allowing the Council to believe in their naivete. Meanwhile, Lyra would make certain that her team collected every piece of information they could, preparing for the moment when Earth's true capabilities would be revealed. As they left the reception, Lyra felt a renewed sense of purpose. The Council may have underestimated humanity, but that was precisely what Earth needed right now. Humanity had come prepared, and when the time was right, they would show the galaxy what Earth was truly capable of. The next morning, Captain Lyra James and her team prepared to return to the Council chamber, steeling themselves for what they knew would be another day filled with veiled condescension and diplomatic games. Earth's welcome into the galactic community had felt more like an appraisal than a true invitation, and Lyra sensed that her delegation was viewed as an opportunity rather than as equals. Humanity's youth was the Council's favored topic, often referred to as if Earth's leaders were fumbling children. Before they could leave the endeavor, Lyra received a message from Chancellor Zalor, who requested a private meeting. This was unexpected and intriguing, and she couldn't help but wonder what the Chancellor intended. She left her team in the capable hands of Lieutenant Chen and prepared herself to meet Zalor alone, mindful of every gesture and every word. When Lyra entered the Chancellor's office aboard the Council's space station, she was struck by the understated elegance of the room. The walls were adorned with artifacts from countless worlds, each representing a different culture within the galaxy. Zalor himself sat behind a polished metallic desk, his tall, willowy form even more imposing in this formal setting. He gestured for her to sit, and Lyra took the offered seat, carefully arranging her expression into one of respectful attentiveness. "Captain James," Zalor began, his voice as smooth as ever, "thank you for meeting with me on such short notice. I wanted to speak to you in private, away from the prying eyes of the Council." He folded his hands, his gaze unreadable. "There are certain matters we should discuss, matters that may not be appropriate for the public sessions." Lyra inclined her head. "Of course, Chancellor Zalor. I am here to represent Earth's interests and to understand the Council's intentions fully. I appreciate the opportunity to speak candidly." The Chancellor's lips curved into a slight smile. "Excellent. I admire your poise, Captain, especially given your world's recent entry into our galactic society." His words, while polite, hinted at the condescension that had colored the Council's interactions since Earth's arrival. "You may have noticed," he continued, "that the galaxy is not always a forgiving place. New civilizations can be vulnerable, exposed." She sensed the direction this conversation was heading and braced herself. "I am well aware, Chancellor. Humanity has faced its share of challenges on our home planet. We are prepared to handle ourselves in the galaxy." Zalor raised a slender eyebrow, his smile remaining. "Admirable confidence. However, there are many dangers beyond your understanding. It would be prudent for Earth to consider a form of protection, a cooperative arrangement with the Council, perhaps." Lyra's mind raced as she parsed his words. This protection sounded more like control, a means to absorb Earth's assets while stripping away its autonomy. It was precisely the scenario her leaders had feared, and now it was unfolding with thinly veiled diplomatic language. She kept her voice steady, concealing the flash of anger she felt. "What would this protection entail, Chancellor?" Zalor leaned forward slightly, his tone as smooth as ever. "The Council has mechanisms to ensure the safety of less experienced civilizations. A peacekeeping fleet could be stationed within your system. They would, of course, ensure that Earth remains stable and secure as you grow accustomed to our ways." Lyra felt her pulse quicken, but she maintained her composure. The proposal was a thinly disguised occupation. Allowing a fleet of Council ships to linger near Earth would essentially mean surrendering their sovereignty. "Thank you for the offer, Chancellor, but Earth's leaders are committed to maintaining our independence. We are eager to learn from the Council, but we would prefer to do so without compromising our autonomy." The Chancellor's expression remained polite, though she caught a flicker of something in his eyes, disappointment perhaps, or irritation. "I understand, Captain James. However, I urge you to reconsider. There are factions in the galaxy that might view Earth's position as precarious." The implication was clear. Without the Council's protection, Earth could be seen as an easy target. It was a not-so-subtle reminder of their vulnerability, and the threat that might follow should they reject the Council's guidance. Lyra held his gaze, refusing to let him see any sign of weakness. "We appreciate your concern, Chancellor, and will take your advice to heart, but Earth's government will make its own decisions about our security." Zalor regarded her silently for a moment before he inclined his head, the faintest shadow of disappointment crossing his features. "Very well, Captain. I trust you will convey our generous offer to your leaders. In the meantime, I suggest caution. The galaxy is filled with those who might seek to exploit inexperience." She offered him a cool nod, aware that this conversation was more warning than negotiation. As she left Zalor's office, Lyra's mind churned with thoughts. The Council's intentions were now clear, and the offer for protection was a veiled bid for control. She would have to report this immediately, and ensure Earth's leadership understood the stakes. Returning to her team, she quickly relayed the details of her conversation with Zalor. Lieutenant Chen shook his head grimly. "So it's happening just as we suspected. They're offering help, but with strings attached." Lyra nodded. "They want Earth under their thumb, Jack. This protection is a cover to strip us of our independence. But we have an advantage. They think we're naive and they don't know the full extent of our capabilities." As they resumed their seats in the council chamber, Lyra watched Zalor and the other representatives with a new understanding. The Council might see Earth as a fledgling civilization, but Earth had spent decades preparing for this moment, cultivating technology and defenses that no one in the galaxy knew about. For now, they would keep their secrets hidden, biding their time. During the next session, the Council resumed its discussions with members presenting updates and proposals for various sectors. Amid these exchanges, another representative, a tall, armored figure from the Navor Confederacy, turned to address Lyra directly. "Captain James," the Navori said, his voice deep and resonant, "I hear that Earth has recently made remarkable advancements in technology. Your people must be quite proud to have come this far in such a short time." Lyra offered a polite smile, keeping her tone humble. "We have indeed made strides, but there is much we have yet to learn. We're honored to be here, among such advanced civilizations, and we hope to learn from your experiences." The Navori nodded, though his expression remained skeptical. "Tell me, what defense capabilities does your world possess? In this galaxy, strength is often the deciding factor. Do you not fear the risks of such exposure?" She chose her words carefully. "Our focus has always been on peaceful exploration, Representative. However, we are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary." The Navori's expression held a hint of amusement, as if he found her answer charming but inconsequential. The meeting continued, with several representatives casting similar glances her way, hinting at the Council's collective view of Earth as harmless. Lyra sat back, biding her time and letting the Council believe their own assumptions. They could think of Earth as insignificant for now, but that underestimation would prove valuable when the time was right. After the session, Lyra gathered her team to debrief. She explained that Earth's diplomatic strategy would remain unchanged, present a humble, non-threatening front, while gathering intelligence on every faction, every technology, and every political dynamic within the Council. "For now," she reminded them, "we let them think we're nothing more than an innocent species. The longer they believe that, the better prepared we'll be when we finally reveal our strength." Lieutenant Ramirez grinned. "Let them underestimate us. When the time comes, we'll make sure they remember Earth's name." Lyra allowed herself a small smile, feeling her resolve solidify. The Council's dismissive attitude would buy them time, allowing Earth to prepare for whatever conflicts lay ahead. And if the galaxy thought Earth was weak, they were in for a surprise that would shake the stars themselves. Several days after the Council sessions resumed, Captain Lyra James and her team continued their diplomatic charade, gathering intel and gauging the political landscape of the galactic community. Despite the Council's thinly veiled attempts to control Earth, Lyra's team held their ground, observing the alliances and rivalries between factions, and noting which species seemed the most hostile. The situation was delicate, and every moment was an exercise in restraint. But just as they thought they had settled into the Council's rhythm, an urgent message from Earth shattered the facade of diplomacy. Lieutenant Chen received the transmission, his face taut with tension as he read the incoming data. He quickly gestured for Lyra to join him. "Captain, you need to see this," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Lyra leaned in, her eyes scanning the message. The news was worse than she'd imagined. A Sarkin Dominion fleet, under Commander Vrax's command, had approached Proxima Centauri, where Earth's first off-world colony was stationed. The Sarkins were demanding tribute from Earth, specifically targeting valuable resources in the system and threatening force if the colony did not comply. Vrax was flexing his authority, using Earth's perceived weakness to justify his actions. Lyra felt a chill race down her spine. This was precisely the scenario Earth's leaders had feared. The Council might have extended an invitation to Earth, but it hadn't taken long for certain factions to reveal their true intentions. Vrax's message was more than a threat. It was a test of Earth's resolve and, ultimately, its survival. "Get me in touch with Admiral Victor Hale on Earth," Lyra said, her voice steady, though her mind was racing. Lieutenant Chen quickly patched her through, and moments later, Admiral Hale's face appeared on the screen. The seasoned leader looked calm, though his eyes betrayed a fierce determination. "Captain James," he greeted, his tone clipped. "I assume you've heard about the situation at Proxima Centauri." "I have, Admiral. Commander Vrax is testing us, pushing to see how far he can go. If we don't respond, it'll signal to the entire galaxy that Earth is ripe for the taking," Lyra replied. Hale nodded. "Agreed. Earth's leaders have already discussed the matter, and we've decided that it's time to move forward with the Spectre Initiative." The Spectre Initiative was a classified operation known only to Earth's highest-ranking officials. For years, Earth had been quietly developing a fleet of advanced warships with cloaking technology, equipped with weapons that could rival or even surpass some of the Council's most formidable ships. It was Earth's ace in the hole, a safeguard built in preparation for the day they might face off against hostile forces in the galaxy. "Understood, Admiral," Lyra said, her pulse quickening. "I assume this means the Spectre fleet will be dispatched to Proxima Centauri?" "Yes," Hale confirmed. "Their orders are clear. Neutralize the threat without revealing our full capabilities. We want to send a message, but we're not ready to show all of our cards just yet." Lyra's mind was already spinning with strategies. This was no longer a diplomatic mission, but a calculated demonstration of power. Commander Vrax and his Dominion would learn that Earth wasn't as defenseless as they thought, but the mission required precision. They had to strike with enough force to protect their colony without alerting the entire galaxy to Earth's true strength. After signing off with Hale, Lyra gathered her team and relayed the orders. The fleet would arrive at Proxima Centauri within hours, ready to engage the Sarkon ships. For now, Lyra and her team would continue their role within the Council, acting unaware of the unfolding conflict. Every expression, every movement had to remain calm and collected, even as they anticipated the upcoming confrontation. As the day wore on, Lyra received another coded message, this time from the commander of the Spectre fleet, Captain Mira Collins. Collins was one of Earth's most skilled tacticians, chosen specifically for her experience in unconventional warfare. "Captain James, the Spectre fleet is in position. We've identified 5 Sarkon vessels in the vicinity, all heavily armed but not expecting resistance. Commander Vrax seems confident he's intimidating an undefended colony," Collins reported, her voice steady but with a glint of anticipation. "Proceed as planned, Captain Collins," Lyra instructed. "Disable their engines first. We want them alive to send a message, but don't let them gain the upper hand." As Collins signed off, Lyra felt a flicker of satisfaction. Commander Vrax and his Dominion would soon learn that Earth was no mere primitive society. They were about to experience firsthand the power of Earth's hidden fleet. Meanwhile, on Proxima Centauri, the colony residents had been on high alert since the Sarkon ships arrived. Commander Vrax's demand for resources had been met with silence, as Earth's officials worked to stall until the Spectre fleet could act. In the colony's main command center, Governor Lisa Ngolo, a seasoned diplomat and leader, had prepared the colonists for potential evacuation, but her priority was to maintain their defenses. "Governor Ngolo, the Sarkon ships have issued another warning. They're threatening to commence an attack if we don't comply," one of her aides reported, a hint of anxiety in his voice. "Hold our position," she replied firmly. "Help is on the way. We just need to keep our defenses intact until they arrive." In orbit around Proxima Centauri, the Sarkon ships began shifting into attack formation, their weapons charging. Commander Vrax's face appeared on a transmission screen, his expression smug and predatory. "You humans are bold, I'll give you that," he sneered. "But I tire of waiting. Surrender your resources, or suffer the consequences." Governor Ngolo met his gaze, unflinching. "We have nothing to surrender, Commander Vrax. Earth stands by its colony, and we will defend ourselves if necessary." Vrax's laughter was cold and mocking. "Defend yourselves? Against us? You're outmatched and outgunned. I'll give you one last chance to reconsider." Before Ngolo could respond, an alarm blared through the command center. The Spectre fleet had arrived. Without warning, Earth's cloaked ships decloaked around the Sarkin vessels, catching them entirely off guard. Sleek and formidable, the Spectre ships moved with lethal precision, surrounding the Sarkins in a tight formation. From the command bridge of her flagship, Captain Collins observed the Sarkins with a calculating gaze. Open fire on their engines. Disable them but keep them intact. One by one, targeted shots struck the Sarkin ship's engines, sending them adrift, powerless. The precise, controlled fire was an unmistakable display of skill and power, a warning as much as it was a victory. The Sarkins scrambled to respond, but without their engines they were left helpless, drifting in space while Earth's ships hovered around them in a show of dominance. On board the disabled Sarkin flagship, Commander Vrax's expression shifted from arrogance to disbelief as he realized the situation. This is impossible. How could humans have this technology? Back on Proxima Centauri, Governor Ngolo received confirmation of the Spectre fleet's success. She allowed herself a sigh of relief, knowing her colony was safe, and sent a message to Commander Vrax, her tone polite but firm. "Commander, Earth will not be intimidated. We defend our own. Perhaps now you'll reconsider your assumptions about us." Vrax snarled, but his anger was empty without the power to back it up. The Spectre fleet's presence had shattered his assumptions, leaving him exposed and humiliated. Meanwhile, in the council chamber, the news of the incident at Proxima Centauri began to spread. Whispers filled the room as representatives caught wind of Earth's unexpected show of strength. Many exchanged looks of surprise, clearly struggling to reconcile their previous assumptions about humanity with this new development. Earth, it seemed, was far from helpless. Captain Lyra maintained a calm, impassive expression as she observed the council members' reactions, allowing herself a brief, inward satisfaction. They still didn't know the full extent of Earth's capabilities, but they were beginning to understand that Earth was not as weak as they'd believed. For now, the Spectre fleet's true power would remain Earth's secret, but in the days to come, Lyra knew that Earth's path through the galaxy would be forever changed. In the aftermath of the Proxima Centauri incident, shockwaves rippled through the Galactic Council. Word of Earth's display of military strength against Commander Vrax's Sarkon fleet spread quickly, leaving many council members stunned and scrambling to reassess their opinions of the primitive human race. Some were intrigued, others were cautious, but a few factions, like the Sarkin Dominion, were furious. Captain Lyra James and her team felt the shift in the council's tone immediately. Whispers followed them through the corridors, and the once condescending looks from various representatives were now mixed with uncertainty and wariness. The council, it seemed, had realized Earth wasn't as defenseless as they'd presumed, but Lyra knew they had yet to understand the true extent of humanity's capabilities. This was only the beginning, and Earth was still holding back its most formidable assets. That day, Chancellor Zaylor called an emergency session in the council's grand chamber. As Lyra and her team entered, she could feel the tension crackling in the air. The representatives from various species sat rigidly, their eyes narrowing as they watched Earth's delegation take their seats. Chancellor Zaylor stood at the center, his usually calm expression drawn tight with a hint of frustration. "Esteemed colleagues," Zaylor began, his voice echoing through the chamber, "we have gathered here today to address a serious matter regarding the recent incident at Proxima Centauri. Earth's actions against Commander Vrax's fleet have raised significant concerns among us." Lyra remained silent, observing the reactions of the council members. Vrax himself sat rigidly across the chamber, his face twisted with fury. It was clear he hadn't expected Earth to stand up to him, much less to disable his fleet with such precision. Now he seethed, his pride wounded, and Lyra knew he would do everything in his power to turn the council against Earth. Chancellor Zaylor gestured toward Vrax. "Commander Vrax has brought forth a complaint, claiming that Earth's actions were unprovoked and aggressive. He demands that Earth's government be held accountable." Vrax rose, his scaly face flushed with anger. "These humans have deceived us. They pretend to be harmless explorers, but they clearly have the means to launch a full-scale attack. Earth's fleet ambushed us, using cloaked vessels, technology far beyond what they led us to believe they possessed." His voice was a mixture of rage and disbelief, as if he still couldn't fully accept what had happened. Lyra stood, keeping her tone measured and composed. "Commander Vrax, Allow me to clarify. Earth has never claimed to be defenseless. We came to the Council with peaceful intentions, but when you threatened our colony and demanded tribute, you left us no choice but to defend our people. We did not attack. We simply ensured the safety of our citizens. Vrax's eyes narrowed, but before he could respond, another representative spoke up. It was Ambassador Riala of the Avori Alliance, a faction known for its neutrality. Captain James raises a fair point. Commander Vrax, by your own admission, you initiated this conflict by demanding resources from Earth's colony. Were you authorized by the Council to take such measures? Vrax's face tightened, and he hesitated. It was clear that his actions hadn't been officially sanctioned. He'd acted independently, hoping to intimidate Earth into submission. Now, however, his plan had backfired, exposing him to scrutiny. Chancellor Zalor raised a hand for silence. Whether or not Commander Vrax was in the right, Earth's military capabilities are now a subject of great interest to the Council. Captain James, would you care to explain how a species new to interstellar travel possesses cloaking technology and weaponry capable of disabling Sarkin ships? Lyra met his gaze calmly. Chancellor Zalor, Earth's journey into the galaxy has been one of caution. We understood the potential dangers that lay beyond our planet, and we took measures to prepare ourselves. Our fleet is designed for defense, and we have no intention of using it to provoke or conquer. The murmurs in the chamber grew louder. Some council members seemed impressed, while others appeared more suspicious. The Sarkin representative wasn't alone in his discontent. From the back rows, an elder representative from the Vilan Dominion stood, her compound eyes gleaming with a mix of curiosity and fear. What assurances can you provide that Earth's intentions are indeed peaceful, Captain James? She asked. Many of us are concerned that you've kept such significant capabilities hidden. Before Lyra could respond, a hologram flickered to life beside her. Admiral Victor Hale appeared on the screen, his presence commanding even in the virtual projection. His calm, steely expression left no doubt that he was prepared for this confrontation. Esteemed members of the Council, Admiral Hale began, his voice steady. Earth has not hidden its capabilities out of deceit. Rather, we kept our defenses private, because we understood that, as newcomers, our intentions would be closely scrutinized. We sought to prevent misunderstandings and avoid appearing as a threat. Chancellor Zalor's expression hardened. And yet, Admiral, by keeping these capabilities secret, you have invited doubt and suspicion among the Council. How do we know you are not simply biding your time to consolidate power? Admiral Hale's gaze remained unwavering. Chancellor, Earth has no desire for domination or control. Our focus has always been on preserving our independence and protecting our people. If we intended to use our strength for conquest, we would have done so already. Instead, we have acted only in defense. The tension in the chamber was palpable. Many representatives exchanged glances, uncertain of how to respond. Commander Vrax, however, was not satisfied. He rose again, his voice laced with venom. I say we cannot trust these humans. They've shown their hand, and we must take action to prevent them from disrupting the balance of power in this galaxy. We should consider containment. At the word containment, the chamber fell silent, and all eyes turned toward Vrax. Containment was a drastic measure, one reserved for civilizations deemed too dangerous to allow autonomy. It would mean placing Earth under strict surveillance, with restrictions on its military and technological growth. Lyra's jaw clenched, but she forced herself to remain calm. She could not allow Vrax to dictate Earth's future. Taking a deep breath, she addressed the Council once more. Commander Vrax, Earth has done nothing to warrant containment. We have engaged with this Council openly, and have shown restraint even in defending ourselves. We are not here to disrupt or threaten. We are here to coexist. Chancellor Zalor nodded thoughtfully. Captain James, your words carry weight. However, it is evident that Earth's presence has raised concerns. The Council will deliberate on the matter of Earth's military capabilities, and decide if further oversight is necessary. Admiral Hale's hologram flickered, drawing the Council's attention once more. Chancellor, before the Council makes any decisions, I'd like to offer a demonstration. To ease any doubts, we will reveal one of Earth's key defense assets, a testament to our commitment to peace and cooperation, while also ensuring our own protection. The chamber filled with whispers as the Council members speculated on what this might mean. Hale's plan to showcase one of Earth's defense capabilities was a calculated risk, designed to demonstrate strength while still holding back Earth's most powerful technologies. Outside the Council station, Earth's flagship, the Nebula Fortress, arrived. The vessel was enormous, its sleek lines and formidable weapons arrays creating an imposing silhouette against the stars. Equipped with shields and weapons beyond anything the Council had ever seen, the Nebula Fortress was Earth's ultimate deterrent, a symbol of its readiness to defend itself if challenged. As the Nebula Fortress appeared on the Council's viewing screens, gasps filled the chamber. Lyra could see the shock and awe in the eyes of her fellow representatives. The Council had been aware of Earth's defensive measures, but this ship exceeded their expectations. Chancellor Zalor's eyes widened, though he quickly masked his surprise. Admiral Hale, the Council has seen enough. I believe Earth's intentions are clear. Commander Vrax, though still seething, fell silent, knowing that the sight of the Nebula Fortress had effectively quashed any further arguments for containment. As the session adjourned, Lyra could feel the weight of the Council's shifting opinion. Earth had shown just enough strength to gain respect without overstepping, leaving the Council with a powerful reminder. Humanity was ready to defend itself, but it sought peace above all else. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, but that underestimation was now over. The Council chamber was buzzing with a new tone of respect and apprehension, as Captain Lyra James and her team returned the following day. The sight of Earth's flagship, the Nebula Fortress, had shifted perceptions overnight. Council members who had previously dismissed Earth as an inexperienced civilization now looked upon its representatives with cautious regard. Earth's power was undeniable, and the Council, after seeing the Nebula Fortress, could no longer overlook humanity's resilience and strength. As the session began, Chancellor Zalor took his position at the center of the chamber, his gaze sweeping over the assembled representatives. He paused as his eyes met Lyra's, and she detected a hint of respect, perhaps even admiration. The Chancellor raised his voice, his tone firm but conciliatory. "Esteemed colleagues, we have witnessed a revelation," Zalor announced, nodding toward the Earth delegation. "The humans have demonstrated both restraint and readiness. Their actions reveal not only a commitment to self-defense, but also a willingness to engage in diplomacy. This Council must now decide on the nature of Earth's role within our community." The representatives murmured in agreement, though some, like Commander Vrax, still wore expressions of resentment. Vrax had been vocal about his distrust of Earth, and seemed unwilling to accept humanity's newfound position as a force to be reckoned with. But even he understood that the Council would no longer support containment or oppression as options. The display of the Nebula Fortress had shattered any illusion of Earth's weakness. Chancellor Zalor continued, his gaze steady. "Captain James, Admiral Hale, the Council invites you to propose terms for Earth's formal alliance with the galactic community. We are open to a partnership that honors both your independence and our shared values." Lyra rose, feeling a surge of pride. This was the moment Earth had prepared for, the culmination of decades of hidden efforts and strategic planning. She knew she represented not only her people, but also the legacy of those who had dreamed of humanity's place among the stars. "Chancellor Zalor, esteemed Council members," Lyra began, her voice clear and calm. "Earth seeks a place within this Council as an equal and independent member. We offer our resources, our knowledge, and our willingness to contribute to the peace and prosperity of this galaxy. In return, we ask that our sovereignty be respected and that our people have the right to defend their home." Commander Vrax rose, unable to contain his frustration. "This is absurd. You are newcomers. You cannot simply demand equality with civilizations that have been in this galaxy for millennia. It is a dangerous precedent." Lyra held his gaze, unflinching. "Commander Vrax, we may be newcomers, but we are not naive. Earth has spent generations preparing for this moment, not to dominate but to coexist. We ask for equality, not as a demand, but as a recognition of our commitment to peace and cooperation." The chamber fell silent as her words sank in. Chancellor Zalor looked to Vrax, his expression patient yet firm. "Commander Vrax, we must adapt to new realities. Humanity has proven its resilience and capability. Dismissing them now would only invite further discord." Another representative, Ambassador Riala of the Avori Alliance, spoke up, her tone calm yet assertive. "Captain James speaks truthfully. Earth has shown restraint in the face of provocation, and they bring with them a perspective this Council could benefit from. I propose that we extend an invitation to Earth as an equal member of this Council, with all rights and responsibilities." A murmur of approval rippled through the chamber. The Avori Alliance, known for its diplomacy and commitment to balance, had substantial influence within the Council. Riala's support was a crucial turning point, and Lyra sensed that a consensus was forming. Chancellor Zalor nodded, a slight smile breaking through his composed demeanor. "Then let it be so. Earth shall be welcomed as a full member of the Galactic Council. with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. May this alliance mark a new chapter of cooperation between our worlds." Commander Vrax looked as though he wanted to protest further, but he remained silent, realizing he was outnumbered. The Council had decided, and Earth's status as an equal member was now official. Lyra could feel the weight of history in the air, the beginning of a new era not only for humanity, but for the entire galaxy. The formalities proceeded swiftly. Lyra and Admiral Hale signed the alliance agreement alongside Chancellor Zalor and other high-ranking council members, cementing Earth's place in the galaxy. The atmosphere was a blend of celebration and gravity, a recognition of the vast journey ahead and the challenges they would inevitably face together. Later, as the chamber emptied, Lyra and Admiral Hale found themselves standing side by side, looking out at the vast galaxy through the Council's massive observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly, a reminder of both the potential and the unknown dangers that lay before them. Hale broke the silence. "We've come a long way, Captain. This alliance is just the beginning. We'll have to be vigilant. Some of these factions still see us as a threat, and others might try to use this alliance to their advantage." Lyra nodded. "I know, Admiral, but we've prepared for this. Earth's strength has always been in its adaptability, its ability to find common ground even in the face of hostility." Hale chuckled softly, his gaze still fixed on the stars. "Indeed, the galaxy has underestimated us, but I have a feeling they're in for a surprise." The two exchanged a look of shared understanding. This alliance was not the end, but a foundation, a stepping stone toward a future where humanity could thrive among the stars while holding true to its principles. They had come prepared, and now they would navigate the complex web of galactic politics, forging alliances, securing resources, and advancing Earth's place in this vast interstellar community. Just as they turned to leave, a message arrived from Earth's leaders. President Amelia Chen appeared on a small screen before them, her expression proud and resolute. "Captain James, Admiral Hale, congratulations. Earth is proud of what you've accomplished, but remember, this is only the beginning. The galaxy holds both allies and adversaries. We'll need to be cautious, but we'll also need to be brave. The people of Earth stand with you." Lyra felt a swell of emotion at the President's words. This moment was historic, a testament to the spirit of humanity and its relentless drive to forge ahead, even in the face of uncertainty. "Thank you, Madam President. We'll carry Earth's banner with pride," she replied. As the connection closed, Lyra took one last look at the council chamber, now filled with the remnants of the signing ceremony. This was their new world, a place of endless possibilities and complex challenges. She turned to her team, who had gathered behind her, their expressions filled with hope and determination. "Let's head back to the Endeavor. We have much to report and much to plan. Earth is part of the galaxy now, and we'll need to be ready for whatever comes next." As they made their way through the corridors of the Council station, Lyra felt the weight of responsibility settle over her, but with it came a renewed sense of purpose. Earth had arrived on the galactic stage, no longer relegated to the sidelines but standing as an equal, ready to shape its own destiny among the stars. In the days and weeks that followed, Earth's integration into the Council brought both opportunities and challenges. New alliances formed, trade agreements were forged, and humanity began exchanging technology and knowledge with its galactic counterparts. Yet, tensions remained as certain factions viewed Earth's rapid rise with suspicion. But for every challenge, Earth's representatives were ready, meeting each obstacle with resilience and diplomacy. The galaxy was vast and filled with potential dangers, but humanity's spirit had carried it this far, and Lyra was confident it would carry them further still. As the Endeavor departed from the Council's station, Lyra looked out at the stars, a determined smile on her face. Earth was no longer a mystery, no longer an unknown entity in the galaxy. Humanity had proven its strength, its resilience, and its worth, and now, united with the Council, they would face whatever the galaxy had in store, together as equals.